welcome to A Space to Write. This is a session we did not too long ago. We recorded it on Zoom, so what you're about to see is a recorded version of that. About 60 people came, and we loved it so much that we wanted to share it with you. So yeah, have a notebook, have a pen, and get ready to write. It's an hour and a half long. The first hour is structured around some guided prompts and reflection, character development, story development, and then the final 30 minutes is for you to write whatever you like. So you'll be guided along the whole time. I'll be writing with you, and I hope you enjoy. Hello. Hi, everybody. Okay, just letting a few more people in. Wow, a lot of you guys are here. So yeah, this is our very first writing session. We're called A Space to Write, and I'll be writing along with you, so it's also a space for me to write, space for us to all be here together, writing together, learning together, making mistakes together. All right, so we're going to start with a reflection on the idea of beginnings. So have your notebook ready for this one. And I just want you to reflect on when was the last time you began something? Maybe it's today. Maybe this is a new beginning for you. Maybe you're beginning your journey as a writer or beginning to experiment with writing. Maybe it was a month ago when you began a new job. Even if it's something very small, like watching a new TV series, or something really big, like you began your time as a new parent, something like that. Big, small, whatever it was, just try to remember what is the last beginning that you experienced. So write down what it was, when it was, what made you begin it, why did you begin it, and how have you found the journey so far. Okay? So I will type those into the chat. You can refer to those questions, and I'm going to let you reflect on that for about maybe 8 minutes. Yeah? So I will mute myself now, and we can all focus. you've got 2 minutes left, just in case people are conscious of time. 2 minutes left. Okay, so start wrapping up your thoughts. You can always come back to it later and keep exploring if there's more that you want to reflect on with that. So the reason we start with a self-reflection exercise first before we get into fiction and whatever else it is that you're working on, because it's really important to keep track of our own lives, not just our characters' lives, because this is how we getting to know ourselves and our inner experience is how we can then add depth to our own characters, our own points of view, our speakers in our writing. So if you don't have a journaling practice, I really encourage writers to do something like that. So it doesn't have to be much, like we just did, about 8 minutes, do that a few days a week and just kind of see how it unfolds over time. I keep all my journals over here. I'm constantly flipping through them and just finding interesting little snippets, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can draw from that, or that's a story idea. You just never really know. So okay, so diving into this idea of beginnings, I wanted to kind of start us off with an inspiring quote. This is from the book called The New Diary by Tristine Rayner. So hopefully everyone can see that. So it's a book about journaling, but I think it does have a lot to say about writing in general, because as I mentioned, journaling feeds into our creative writing, and she's just speaking about how to begin. So I thought these are some really nice rules. We can kind of work from this today. So her ideas, some principles for beginning. How do you actually begin? How you sit down, how do you begin? And she says, write fast, write everything, include everything, write from your feelings, write from your body, accept whatever comes. So I think that's a brilliant set of guidelines, and I would encourage everyone to kind of play with using those today. So a lot of what we're doing today is free writing, and that's very explorative, that's very fluid. So the idea is we don't want to get the critical mind in the way. We don't want to interfere with what is appearing in our writing. So working with these rules to write everything that comes, write it quickly, don't question, write with your feelings, your body, and just accept whatever comes. I think that's a really great way to write for today. So yeah. And if anybody is curious about that book, The New Diary is really, really good. So definitely recommend it. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about beginnings in general. Let's start with like the obvious. What is a beginning? So it's obviously something new, but it's more than just a new thing. So a beginning isn't normally going to come about when you go to the store and you buy bananas, unless the bananas are the start of some kind of journey. Or so the beginning is going to be the start of a chain of events, some longer unfolding thing, and in writing terms, it's the start of our story. So beginnings have a lot of different forms. So our next activity is to just think of as many possible beginnings as you can. Just to get us started, a few I think I mentioned earlier, like beginning a new job, becoming a parent. These are new beginnings. So I just want you to list as many new beginnings as you can think of. I'm going to give you just a few minutes to do this, but try to keep the pen moving. And if you get stuck, just write. Come back to those rules. Write whatever comes, accept whatever comes. If you think of something like, oh no, that's a bad idea or that's silly, just write it anyway and see what happens. So just about 2 minutes to write down as many different kinds of beginnings as you can think of. Okay, when you've got a good enough list, let's say maybe you come up with 10, ideally, at least 10, go through it, and I want you to just pick out your favorite one, the one that strikes you as the most interesting, and put it in the chat. So maybe a beginning that you've come up with could inspire somebody else today. So I'll put one in, and if everyone could put one in, and then we'll have a nice little list of beginnings that we can all draw from and use. Cool, okay. I'm just going to read out a few of the ones that are coming in because this is being recorded and I don't think people will be able to see the chat in the recording. I'm seeing getting a haircut, discovering a hidden entrance on your daily walk. Oh, that's intriguing. Beginning to write a novel. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Having a character writing a novel could be a really interesting novel. Discovering a secret. Yeah, that could be a beginning if it leads to then more things happening and the character going on a journey, for sure. Trying a new cuisine. Yeah, wasn't there was that blogger who was her thing was doing Julia Child's recipes and then that became a fantastic blog and people made it into a film and that is a beginning. Cooking a new talent. Uh-huh, yeah, like discovering a new talent or developing a new talent. A spring clean. Yeah. I could definitely use one of those. Learning a new language, joining a meetup group. Yeah. Detoxing your life. First guitar lesson. Retiring. Yes, that was something else I wanted to say, which was that endings can be fantastic beginnings. So retiring is the end of a portion of your life, or the end of your working life, or one particular aspect of your working life. And then that in itself is then a new beginning because you have more time available to then go on other journeys and have new experiences. So definitely. Great. Okay. So, if any of those strike you as inspiring, write them down, hold on to them, because now we're going to start building a story here. So, I want you to just pick one beginning, pick something that interests you, that you feel like has some story potential, that you feel like maybe you have something to say about, or something that you would like to explore. So, just choose one beginning. I'll give you a second to do so because I want you to choose it first. It can either be one that you wrote or one that somebody put in the chat, or one that you come up with right now. Okay, so once you have that beginning, you've chosen the beginning. Now I'm going to give you your character. So you're going to imagine that this beginning is happening to this character. So I'll be sharing an image. You can decide who they are, but we're all going to have the same starting point, which is this image of a character. So here's our character. So now you've got your beginning, you've got your character. What I want you to do is just to start free writing. So this means writing without the critical voice getting in the way. Just free writing, without stopping. So free writing a monologue from this character's perspective as they face this new beginning. So it is at the very beginning of the beginning. It has just started. This is brand new. What's going on inside their mind? So a monologue is basically a transcription of somebody's inner thoughts. So this is about really getting into the mind of your character and trying to figure out what they are thinking about as they face this new beginning. So I will give you about 8 minutes to do that. Okay. Okay, I think you can wrap up the monologue now. So, I found that really interesting actually. I was doing it along with you guys. So I used the beginning that I put in the chat of adopting a pet bird, but then I ended up imagining this person. The character in that image looks like she's very focused on what she does. I assume her job is working in this lab, and I imagined that she was sort of given this bird out of nowhere without being asked if she wanted it, and now she's got to figure out how to take care of it. So already there's kind of an interesting little bit of a conflict. We'll speak more about conflict in a moment, but if anybody wants to share what they came up with, feel free to do so in the chat. I do understand if you'd rather keep it to yourself, though. And if you would rather keep it to yourself, please do, because creativity is a precious thing, and we don't want to give things away before we're ready to. So, all right. So, hopefully, everyone now has their beginning. They've got their character. They've explored a little bit what this beginning means to their character. And then, as we're kind of building a story now, the next layer would be the conflict. So, as I mentioned, my idea was starting to go into the terrain of conflicts, but it's got to be something standing in the way of your character's life proceeding, as normal and without any problems. So the next thing that we're going to do is brainstorm what kind of conflict could appear in your story. And brainstorming means just coming up with as many ideas as possible, kind of like what we did earlier when I asked you to list different types of beginnings. So you don't have to make any final decisions about the story, is what I'm saying. You can think of different sorts of conflicts, just whatever comes to mind. And then later on, if you do want to use the story, refine it, keep building on it, then you can make choices. But for now, just think about as many different possible conflicts, things that could get in the way of your character. Just to give a few other examples, so if we have perhaps the new beginning of a job, so this character gets a new job, a conflict there could be that perhaps they lied about something on their CV and they've got to make sure it doesn't come out, or they have got a new job in a country where they don't speak the language, and that's leading to maybe miscommunications in the office. So those are just a few ideas of different conflicts, but for you, just brainstorm, as I said, come up with as many as you can. If there's one that particularly takes your fancy and you just want to go with it, then let it guide you. Because yeah, as we spoke about earlier, our rules are to just accept everything that comes. So if what's coming to you is one thing and you just want to follow it, please do so. But for now, I'm going to mute myself for 5 or 6 minutes while you think about different conflicts in this situation, and I'll also catch up on what's coming in the chat. Okay, hopefully that was enough time to get a few ideas down. I love some of the stuff that's come in through the chat here, actually. Someone wrote they had an idea that this character was about to destroy the lab, but they were going to keep one jar of green elixir. That's so intriguing, because now I'm wondering, why do they want to destroy the lab? And what's in this green elixir? There's all this potential for story. So thank you so much for sharing what you came up with. Okay, so we've got our beginning, we've got our character, we've got potential conflicts. You don't have to have chosen one yet. Maybe you do want to think about if there is one that you feel more drawn to, but we don't have to stay committed to anything here because we're just coming up with ideas. So then, obviously, a story is going to need to end at one point. So if you would like to, this is your chance to now brainstorm a few ideas for how the story could end. We won't spend too much time on this because I'm aware that this is kind of the opposite of our theme, which is beginnings. But just so that everyone can leave here today with some kind of outline of a story that you can do something with or not, just take a few minutes to then think about where could this story ultimately end up. And deciding what that's going to be is going to mean deciding what kind of story you're telling. Is it a happy ending story? Is it going to be kind of a sad ending story? Do you want the characters' conflicts to be resolved? Do you want them to have maybe realized that the conflicts aren't that important and they change priority? So yeah, how do things wrap up? Just coming up with a few ideas doesn't have to be very detailed or complex. Just whatever comes to mind. We're not questioning anything. Just see whatever comes up, and we'll just do about 2 minutes on this. Okay, so finish up the line that you're on, or whatever it is that you're writing. And with any of these exercises, you can always come back and add to them. So I'm just conscious of time. I don't want to spend too much on any one thing. So you can always come back to these later, keep developing, keep listing, keep coming up with ideas. But for now, we're going to take that story and just put it over here. Okay? Not going to think about it. You can come back to it if you like. You can never think about it again. The important thing is that you did it, and that is really, really essential, because what you've done now is you've exercised your creative muscles. So even if the story you came up with is completely weird, you hate it, you can't imagine ever writing it, you've still done great work. So that's part of what we want to encourage in this group, is just building the creative habits, strengthening those creative muscles, so that when you do sit down to write something that's important to you, you can do it, you know? So, okay, so that story is set aside for now. And I just want to say a little bit about another sort of beginning. So, not the beginning of a story, but how do you begin? So, if you want to write something, let's say you have an idea, maybe it's just like a half formed idea, or even just a feeling, like you just have an urge and you want to write. So, how do you begin? How do you sit down? How do you begin? This is possibly one of the more difficult stages of writing, but once you're able to conquer it, you're good. Um, the problem is a lot of people throw up blocks for themselves in the form of self-criticism or needing it to be perfect. So the most important thing you can do for yourself is encourage the lesson that you don't need to be perfect. So I have kind of a little mantra that I say to myself sometimes, which is I don't need to write well. I just need to write. Okay? I don't need to write well. I just need to write. I'll put that in the chat for you in a moment. But that can be just really helpful to sort of shake you out of, trying to. Because sometimes you can just get frozen at even the first word. Like, oh, what's the right and perfect first word? I mean, who cares? You don't have to write well. You just have to write. If this mantra doesn't work, if you are stuck and you're saying it to yourself and still nothing is coming, that's probably a sign that you should get up and do something else, at least for a minute, and then come back. Because sometimes we can also get stuck in this bubble of trying to force it, and we're not helping it, we're actually making it worse. So if you are stuck, you can't begin, you've tried the mantra, you've told yourself, I don't need to write well, I just need to write, and you're still not writing, go do the dishes, take the dog for a walk, do jumping jacks in your room, anything else, literally anything else, and you'll be surprised how freeing that can be. And then when you come back, it's probably gonna be easier. So now we're going to do another exercise that plays with this idea before we move into the final bit where you can work on whatever you like. So, if we think about this mantra, I don't need to write well, I just need to write. I'm going to share another image with you, and your task is to describe the image however you want. Maybe it's another character's monologue, or you're just writing description, whatever. And I want you to do it as badly as you can. Make it awful. Make it the worst piece of writing that anyone has ever produced. Make it trash. No one's gonna read this. You can even burn it afterwards. Maybe that'll be kind of therapeutic. Just make it awful and see where that takes you, okay? So I'm going to share, I'll share the image, and I'll type the mantra in the chat in case you want it. And then I'll give you 5 minutes to just write the worst piece of trash about this that you possibly can. Okay, so here is your image. You have 5 minutes to be truly awful. Have fun. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't too traumatic. I think it can be fun to just sort of goof around. I like the comment someone said about they didn't know they knew so many cliches. I love it. So, okay, you got that out of your system. Now I want you to start again. Okay, so you're going to do the same thing. So maybe you just want to rewrite what you were writing, or you want to start from absolute zero, up to you. Just kind of forget that you ever wrote the bad version, okay? But what I want you to do now is make your writing as over the top as you can. Like, make it really fun, make it really verbose. Just try to write, in one of those, that really like floral, poetic way. If that feels completely not right for you, then don't. The idea is simply that this exercise will give you a chance to write in a way that is fun, in a way that you want to. So we're letting go of how we think we should be writing, and we're just playing and having fun. Um, Someone's just said I kind of like my bad version now. Yes. That's also kind of the point of this, is that your worst is probably not as bad as you think it would be. So, yeah, in this version, if you feel like your bad version was already the floral, descriptive, outrageous version, try something else here. The idea is just that we want to do the same thing again, but in a different way, just letting go completely of how we think we're supposed to do it. Okay? So I hope that makes sense to people. I will give you a few more minutes to do that, and then we'll move into the final writing section. Okay, it's just gone 4 o'clock. So please wrap up the line you're on or whatever. If this is what you want to keep working on in the final part, then you're definitely more than welcome to. But for now, let's kind of come back together. There we go. Okay, so before we get into the final section, I just wanted to ask if people would like to, if you have any thoughts about how this has been so far, you can feel free to put those in the chat. This is our first one of these, so I'd love to know what you found useful, what you would like to see in the future. We'll also be sending out like a very short survey for people, which would help us to then continue building this and making sure that we're, meeting people's needs and inspiring creativity. So thank you everyone for being here. So the final 30 minutes is all you. So this is whatever you want to write. Hopefully, so the idea of these warm-ups and guided prompts is it kind of loosens you up a little bit. And if there's something that you're working on, like a novel, a script, you can bring that in now. You can keep building on the story that we were creating in the first part. You can keep working on your description of that ghostly person if you want to. Or write something entirely different. So I'm going to now share my final image with you. It's not a picture, but it's just a list of other different sort of prompts. So you can feel free to work from these prompts if you like. And we'll come back. I'll tell people to come back just before 4:30. We can say our final goodbyes and stuff. But I hope this has been interesting and fun. And okay, so here's the final free writing prompts for you. So they're all on our continued theme of beginnings. So if you want, you can write from one of these. If you've got a character in mind or you want to create a new one, you can describe what happened on their most recent birthday. You could do some more reflective journaling and just writing down your own memories from, I wrote different New Year's Eves, but it could be any other sort of new beginning that comes to mind. You could also reflect on something that you would like to begin, but you haven't yet, and either imagine that you have done it, or you can imagine another character has done it and write about that. And finally, you could choose to write a monologue from the point of view, so POV is point of view, of someone who hates trying new things. So these are just options for you. You can choose one, you can choose all, you can ignore them. You can work on whatever you like. And I'll be working on a short story that I'm writing based on a fairy tale. So you'll see me sort of typing there. And otherwise, I will catch up on the messages in the chat, and then I'll talk to you in just under 30 minutes, and we'll say our goodbyes.
Okay.
Okay, so wrap up what you're doing. If you are in the middle of an amazing flow, then you don't have to stop. But yeah, just wanted to bring us all back to say thank you for coming. It's such a great turnout for our very first event, so I find this really exciting for where things could go in the future. And as I said, please do let me know if you have any feedback at all. And our next one of these is in the end of May, so on another Sunday, May 28th. We're gonna try it in the morning this time, so sorry. And then those are all of our various social links at the bottom. So as I think I mentioned, we recorded today's session and we'll put it on the YouTube channel hopefully soon, but I'm not the editor of that. My partner's doing that and I don't know how long he'll take. So that's our YouTube channel at the bottom middle. All the handles are a variation of a space to write. Sometimes it's TO, sometimes it's the number 2. So just, take a look there. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Ko-fi? I don't know how to say it. Anyway, I hope you guys had an enjoyable, productive session, and I look forward to seeing you soon, I hope. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for